What's up, comic book fans, and welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me, and today we got more Fall of the House of X with the fourth issue and series finale of Resurrection of Magneto. And this series has been really dope so far, but as the last issue came to an end, we finally got the reveal of Magneto walking back amongst the land of the living. And if you guys are behind and you need to catch up, then I'll place a card at the top of the screen for you right now. And I'll put a link at the end of the video as well to the Resurrection of Magneto playlist. But if you guys are ready to see how Magneto helps turn the tide in this mutant war, then you guys know what time it is. Let's get it. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm hyped to have Magneto back in the fray. He's always been one of my favorite characters in X-Men, and this does not disappoint. So when the issue kicks off, we waste no time in getting straight to the action as we start with Magneto inside of an Orchis facility. And as he glides through this facility, seemingly without a care in the world, the Orchis agents all open fire on him. Instead, what concerns Magneto right now is which hat he should wear, because each one of these helmets throughout the years represented a different ideology for Magneto. But Storm had filled in Magneto about Krakoa's fall and everything that's happened since, but Magneto insisted in seeing it with his own eyes. So while the Resistance mobilized, Magneto decided to hit up the closest Orchis facility resting on the ocean's surface. And one thing to know here is that Magneto isn't killing these guys right now. He's just using his helmets to knock each one of them out. The Orchis agents, on the other hand, they can't believe that they're being raided by Magneto right now, and they quickly call for reinforcements. But Magneto realizes that when he turned his back on the world, this is what it did in his absence. And now Magneto can feel his rage burning, but he holds back. But then he notices that the commander, whom he had just hit in the face with a helmet, this guy has the nerve to not have a broken jaw. So as the commander calls for the Squad Zero to be sent in, Magneto makes a point to fix that lack of a broken jaw, and he smashes this guy with a door. Then he decides to turn the soldiers' weapons against them, since he's starting to get annoyed by the bullets. But again, he doesn't kill them, as he thinks to himself that even among the powerful, he is power, and power carries weight. Power makes ripples in the world. Meanwhile, these guards have their blasters staring them in their faces as they beg to be spared. Magneto continues to think to himself, I help, I harm, I save life, I end it. What should my choice be? What is my responsibility? And then he chooses to once again just knock these guys unconscious with their own weapons. Then he continues to question, which hat should I wear? Which Magneto will I be? And is it truly up to me? He asks, as now this Orchis Squad Zero team teleport in, and now they all have Magneto boxed in with their weapons trained on them. And when the Squad Zero comes in, they are very confident, and they tell Magneto that since they're here, this battle is already over. And Magneto acknowledges to himself that he senses strange electromagnetic energies at play around these soldiers and in their very bodies. This must be some weapon against me or against Lorna. And then anger begins to tell Magneto to strike them down before they do the same to him. But instinct tells him to wait and pull his magnetic field in tight. Very tight. As now these guards begin to mock Magneto and they ask him, what's the matter? Don't you want to take these guns away? And now they believe Magneto to be scared. And then one of them fires a shot, but Magneto had already pulled in his magnetic field, so he's able to catch this bullet precisely half an inch from his skull. No more. Now he understands the trap, and he must be careful. Those magnetic fields aren't weapons, but sensors. Their weapon is their cruelty, he thinks. And now the squad continue to taunt Magneto and tease him to strike them down. Then they begin to fill in the rest of the prisoners there that are watching on why Magneto hasn't yet stopped them. That Magneto has already noticed by now that their suits detect changes to local magnetic fields, and they are very sensitive. And if any magnetic powers touch these suits, nerve gas is gonna flood this prison. First 10 of you die, then 100, then 1,000. And now the prisoners begin to get afraid, with the exception of one of them who places his faith in Magneto's return. Then the Squad Zero put their focus back on Magneto and tell him, there's your choice, Mags. Either you die for your adoring fans, executed for crimes against humanity, or you kill them while trying to kill us. Hope you pick the second one. The perfect trap, Magneto thinks to himself. A way to counter me without requiring costly non-magnetic materials. Only callousness, which Orchis have a plentiful supply of. Storm and Blue Marvel are close by, but I can't signal them without triggering the sensors. I must craft my own response. How would the Magneto of old react? With the black helmet? Unthinking rage? Single-minded vengeance at any cost? Even these innocent lives? I'd like to say otherwise, but I find myself uncertain. Then he thinks of his white helmet. What would Charles do? Embrace self-sacrifice? Fall nobly upon the offered sword? Of course, now he knows how Orchis keeps their end of such bargains. Then he thinks of the red helmet. But these are hypotheticals. In the here and now, I only see one way to proceed. My way. Tripping the sensors will send an electrical impulse down a wire to a circuit, almost instantaneously. Almost. This move will require confidence and strength, an experienced mind and a vital body. It won't require finesse, but anything that did would be too slow. I'll have to remember their names, he continues to think to himself. Then there is a sudden sound of every metal component inside the suits, every wire, every circuit crushing down into 5 small, dense cores. The process ignores the 5 bodies inside the suits. The sound is wet. Unlike electricity in a wire, mutant power is instantaneous. The thing is done so quickly that no signal escapes, no gas is triggered, and yet, it was the perfect trap, with no way out. As we now see that Magneto was able to basically ball up these Squad Zero dudes inside of their suits before any signal could even be tripped. He shut down everything because his powers operated faster than Orchis' electricity could. And it wasn't even a fight, as now Magneto's mind is made up. Neither the white or the black helmet. He chooses the red one. He did it, the other mutants cheer. Magneto did it. And Magneto acknowledges that it's the hope in their voices that almost break him. He must be so careful with that hope. And he then begins to tear down all their cell doors, freeing all the mutants in this facility. Now I have truly returned to the world, he thinks. Turned to face it, to act in it, and upon it. And already, my actions have taken lives and saved them. To save one life is to save the world, my teacher said. Then he looks on at these mutants, and he continues to think that they look at me with such expectation. Which Magneto am I? Their Magneto. And what do they see? Their hero? The man on the t-shirt? The man who is right? A good man? I will try. Try again. It is all I can do. And yet, I fear it. Then he says to this group of mutants, to me, my friends. Then they all regroup outside. And Storm and Blue Marvel have all done their part. Between them, they've rescued almost 1,000 caged mutants. And the other 2 took more Orchis prisoners as well. Then Blue Marvel opens up a portal to his headquarters where these mutants can all be sent back to their loved ones, and a detention center for the Orchis prisoners. Is that everyone? Storm asks Magneto. And his response is everyone who survived. Then Blue Marvel lets them know that evacuation has now been completed and all the data from the Orchis systems has been strip mined. So which one of you would like the pleasure? And of course Magneto accepts. It's no effort at all, he thinks. More of a relief, as he then destroys this entire facility. But it's not over, as now a Stark Sentinel flies over them. Mutant detected. Engage and destroy, it says. Then Blue Marvel fills in Magneto on what they now face. A Stark Sentinel. The most advanced mutant killer yet. Another job well done, Tony, as Magneto now acknowledges that Dr. Brashear has a long-standing distrust of the Avengers, and that he and I are much alike. But this is not Stark's creation. Orchis stole everything he had, including his name and his darkest thoughts. Then Storm tells him that the Sentinels were built to withstand his magnetic power, but they've yet to face her. Then Magneto thinks to himself that this is lethal technology that Stark invented and kept in reserve, in case he needed it against me. And did I not desire that? Did I not want him to fear me? How many have these machines killed, I wonder? How many dead in my name? Meanwhile, Magneto notices, as Storm is fighting this Sentinel, it deploys countermeasures in the form of a sonic device. Then he acknowledges that it's an ear-splitting, ever-changing cacophony. And Aurora is one of the most powerful mutants alive, but her ears are very much human. But Blue Marvel comes in to Storm's rescue and tells the Sentinel that while it's aiming at Storm, it can't hit him, and he bets that he's not even in this machine's database. But the machine proves that assumption false, and it blasts Blue Marvel with neutronium radiation. Then amongst all the fighting, a bunch of humans arrive on a boat with a sign that reads Mutant Liberation Now. And this Sentinel notices this boat with these people and says aloud, "Unauthorized humans detected, preparing countermeasures." And Magneto notes that at first glance, these seem like fishermen blown off course. But then he notices the sign in the cameras. These are activists and citizen journalists. Somehow, they found out about the Orchis facility here and came to expose it. And now these people are recording this fight with their cameras, and they hear the Sentinel and are like, countermeasures? And they think that the Sentinel is bluffing because they're humans, and hurting them is against the rules. But we all know that the AI is running the show now, so this Sentinel will have no problem wiping out these people. And Magneto can tell that these people are now in danger, and Blue Marvel tries to get them to stop the engines on the boat so they can evacuate. But Magneto realizes that there's no time for that. This weapon, ostensibly built to protect humans from him, will instead kill them all. And while he could call that irony or poetic justice for human crimes, he cannot turn his back. So he pulls together the remains from the destroyed facility and forms it into two giant fists. And he flies up and he puts the paws on this Sentinel repeatedly. But this does nothing since the Sentinel is designed to withstand such attacks. And when Storm attempts to join in and help Magneto, she's hit with more sonics. But Blue Marvel is able to counter those sonics this time with a subtle antimatter field around Storm, nullifying the effects of the sonics. Then Magneto thinks to himself that human and mutant powers in strategic combination. Charles would call it inspirational. But I think I can take it further. Then he steals some conductive metal from those giant fists and forms what he needs from them. Then he calls Aurora and Adam to his side and tells them that they are going to make a human mutant circuit. An electromagnetic circuit, he tells Brashear. Call it a new spin on an old trick. But Storm warns Magneto that if this goes wrong, it could kill him. But his response to her is, "Haven't you heard? I'm not afraid of a life that ends." So Storm calls down the lightning just as she did in the Shadow Kingdom and on Araco and uses it to boost Magneto's power. But this time Adam is there to regulate the power and feed it back. So there is no release, only constant redirection through Magneto. The energy flow is unrelenting, he thinks, and the pain is unimaginable. But so is his rage. And he's not able to touch the Sentinel magnetically, and he cannot peel it open. But what he can do is hit it over and over and over until part of its face falls away. And once the inside of its face is exposed, the three of them then pour on everything they've got into the Sentinel until it explodes. Then Magneto thinks to himself that once I set myself apart from the world, on a place above it and above all the people in it. Homo Superior, I called myself, and I played judge and jury for human and mutant alike in my clean white cape. And when the world I helped to build was no longer to my liking, too much pain, too many compromises, I chose to wash my hands of it and walk away. I was wrong, and now I must make amends. Let this be a beginning. Then Magneto tells Adam and Aurora that since the defenses are down on the Sentinel, they should try to study it to provide some clue to their weaknesses. And Adam agrees with Magneto on this, but first, he's got to get the people on the boat to safety. But then Storm is hit with a strong telepathic signal. It was relayed to her since Magneto was wearing his helmet, but it's a message from Emma Frost. She says she's glad Magneto is back, but now she needs him to rescue her husband. Then Storm asks Magneto, "You up for saving the man who invented the tech we just fought?" And Magneto responds that now that is ironic, but he won't turn his back. After all, to save one life is to save the world. Let's go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of this issue and this series. Whew. Magneto is officially all the way back in his game time, y'all. So what did you guys think about this issue and this series? Did you guys enjoy the ride that brought us back to the master of magnetism? The timing of his return couldn't have been better though, since now the machines are running the show. The mutants and the humans could use his help big time. As well as Tony Stark, of course. How about that meeting between those two? And if you happen to catch the video that I just dropped on the Invincible Iron Man issue 17, you got a chance to see that meeting. But I personally thought that this was a really dope series. And I love seeing Magneto come back and try to figure out who he will be this time. Now I'm really looking forward to when he finally meets back up with Charles Xavier though. I wonder how that one will go. But I can't wait to hear you guys' thoughts on this though. And I hope you guys enjoyed this series just as much as I did. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video and this channel and you'd like to support the channel, then you can do so by joining the Iconic Fan Club channel membership. And there'll be a link in the description to join. But with your membership, you'll gain access to weekly interactive live streams with yours truly, where we could talk about everything that's been going down in these issues, as well as stuff that you'd like for me to go over in the future and other comic book news. Plus, you guys will get loyalty badges, member shoutouts, and more. Or you can donate to the channel with a super thanks. And if you're not able to do either of those, then you can still be a tremendous help to the future of this channel by dropping a like, share, and subscribing to Comics Icons for more icons in the comic book world. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. I'm out. Peace.